So that's product market fit. Now we're going to talk about the second phase, which is getting the math to work. Because you can create something that people love, but if you can't create a business off of it, you're not going to be able to, if you can't create a profitable, business off of it, you're not going to be able to grow. There's two terms here that are really important to us. One is the cost of acquiring a customer, or CAC, and the other is the customer's lifetime value, or LTV. Those two things come together in a ratio. Sometimes you'll see it called COCO, which is the cost of customer acquisition. It's the exact same thing. Or customer lifetime value versus lifetime value, it's the exact same thing. The way you calculate cost of acquiring a customer is you take the amount of money that you're spending on sales and marketing and you divide it by the number of customers you got. Relatively straightforward. A big mistake lots of startups make is they only look at things like PPC spend. They don't factor things like salaries. They don't factor things like, if you have a subscription to HubSpot or any of the other things that you're spending money on. You have to take all of your sales and marketing expenses. Every dollar goes on one side of the equation in your business. It's either CAC or LTV. You're either increasing the CAC or decreasing the LTV. The LTV equation is based off of how much people pay you and how often they pay you, minus your margins. So the easiest way to do this is for a subscription model, right? So let's say you have a $50 monthly subscription. Somebody starts it, they buy, they pay $50, $50, $50, and then they cancel after 3 months. Your customer lifetime value there was $150. Subscription models are the most predictable, which is why people tend to really like them, because you get really good at predicting what your customer value is going to be. But it's not just restricted to transactional models. So for example, Starbucks, which is a brand, it's a global brand, but started here in the United States, they have an average order value of about $6. And if you were going to use the average order value as how much you wanted to spend on sales and marketing, you might only say that you were going to spend $2 to sell a $6 coffee and sandwich combo. But because of how good Starbucks is at getting people to come back over and over and over, their average lifetime value, when this study was done by Kissmetrics, was $14,000. So if you're a Starbucks marketer, you're not spending $2 to sell a $6 coffee and sandwich combo. You're spending like $2,000 or $3,000 or $5,000 to acquire and retain a $14,000 customer. The ratio that you pick from your CAC to your LTV is really like a strategic conversation that you talk about with your investors and with the other leadership at your company. But if you think of the customer lifetime value as this pie, this circle here, how much of this pie are you willing to give away in order to acquire a new customer? So you might be willing to spend 1/9 of the customer's lifetime value to acquire them. That's a ratio of 1 to 9, or 1/5 or 1/3. The difference this makes is that if you are spending more money, if you're spending, instead of $30, you're spending $100, it means you have more things you can do in your go-to-market model. If you're spending a higher CAC, you can generally be more competitive. You can spend more money on pay-per-click and advertising. You can spend more money on a marketing team and a sales team, et cetera. And you can either, if you want to be more competitive, you can either, optimize your CAC, find a way to, within this, 1 to 3 ratio, just get more customers at that ratio, or you increase the customer lifetime value. Lots of people don't focus enough on the customer lifetime value bit. What this gives you the ability to do is a lot of companies, especially SaaS companies like HubSpot, actually lose money to acquire a customer. So if the average customer is paying HubSpot maybe like $1,000 a month, HubSpot might spend $12,000 to acquire that customer. And then after a certain amount of time, say after 12 months, they break even. So that customer has paid us $12,000 and it costs us $12,000 to acquire them. And as long as we're good at keeping customers, then after that is your positive cash flow. This can get you in trouble. Again, if you're not good at keeping customers, you have to lower your CAC. And so there's a lot of leverage in figuring out what you can do with customer lifetime value. Usually, this is why starting with that revenue, your revenue model, tells you what kind of go-to-market motions you can do.